Few names in history echo with as much power as Gaius Julius Caesar. Soldier, politician, reformer, dictator, and ultimately, a murdered ruler whose death changed the course of civilization. His life was an epic tale of ambition, brilliance, mercy, cruelty, and destiny. Join us as we explore the man who conquered the world, only to fall at the hands of his own friends. Caesar was born in 100 BC into the ancient Julian clan, a noble family that claimed descent from gods and heroes. While prestigious, they weren't particularly powerful at the time. Rome itself was a powder keg, torn apart by political violence and the bitter rivalry between the conservative optimates and the reformist populace. Caesar's family was aligned with the populace, a connection that nearly cost him his life. In 82 BC, the brutal dictator Sulla seized power and began purging his enemies. The teenage Caesar was ordered to divorce his wife, who was linked to Sulla's rivals. He refused. Enraged, Sulla stripped him of his inheritance and forced him into hiding. Sulla's allies begged him to spare the boy, and Sulla reluctantly agreed, but not without a chilling warning: in this boy, there are many Mariuses. Even then, his enemies sensed the danger he posed. As a young man, Caesar set off to study in Greece but was captured by pirates. When they demanded a ransom of 20 talents, Caesar reportedly laughed and told them to ask for 50, insisting he was worth more. During his captivity, he acted more like their commander than their prisoner, ordering them to be quiet when he wanted to sleep and joking that he would crucify them all once he was free. And he wasn't joking. After the ransom was paid, Caesar raised a fleet, hunted down the pirates, and had them crucified. But in a strange act of mercy, he ordered their throats cut first to shorten their suffering. This mix of charm, pride, and calculated ruthlessness would define his entire career. Returning to Rome, Caesar began his climb up the political ladder. He served as a military officer, a financial official, and then as aedile, the organizer of public games. He spent a fortune on spectacular entertainment for the masses, driving himself deep into debt but winning the hearts of the people. He understood a fundamental truth of Roman politics: real power belonged to the man who controlled both the army and public opinion. By 60 BC, the Roman political system was paralyzed. So Caesar made a revolutionary move. He formed an unofficial alliance with two of the most powerful men in Rome: Pompey the Great, the celebrated general, and Marcus Licinius Crassus, the wealthiest man in the Republic. This secret pact, known as the First Triumvirate, wasn't legal, but it effectively controlled Rome. Through this alliance, Caesar secured the governorship of Gaul, modern-day France, and Belgium. This appointment would be the launching pad for his legendary military career. For nearly a decade, Caesar waged a relentless war in Gaul. He fought Gallic tribes, Germanic invaders, and even launched 2 expeditions to Britain. His campaigns were brutal. Entire tribes were enslaved and hundreds of thousands were killed. But his victories brought him immense wealth, the undying loyalty of his soldiers, and the growing fear of the Senate back in Rome. He documented his own exploits in his famous commentaries on the Gallic War, a masterpiece of propaganda that portrayed him as a calm, rational leader. In reality, he was forging a personal army, loyal not to Rome, but to him alone. The Senate, now led by his former ally Pompey, grew terrified of his power. They ordered him to disband his legions and return to Rome as a private citizen. Caesar knew this was a death sentence. In January 49 BC, he stood at the edge of the Rubicon River, the legal boundary of his province. To cross it with his army meant declaring civil war. After a moment of hesitation, he made his choice, famously saying, "Ali iactorist," the die is cast. Civil war engulfed the Roman world. Caesar marched on Rome with breathtaking speed, forcing Pompey and the Senate to flee to Greece. At the Battle of Pharsalus, despite being heavily outnumbered, Caesar's military genius secured a decisive victory. Pompey escaped to Egypt, hoping to find refuge, but was murdered by agents of the young King Ptolemy XIII, who thought the deed would please Caesar. It didn't. Caesar was disgusted. Pompey was a Roman consul, and once his son-in-law. In Egypt, Caesar found himself drawn into another civil war, this time between Ptolemy and his sister, the brilliant Cleopatra. She famously had herself smuggled to Caesar, rolled up in a carpet, to plead her case. They quickly became lovers, and Caesar backed her claim to the throne. After a short, sharp war in Alexandria, Cleopatra became queen. Their affair, and their son Caesarion, scandalized Rome, but Caesar had more pressing matters. After crushing the last of his enemies, he returned to Rome as its undisputed master. He was declared dictator for 10 years, and then dictator for life. He launched a series of ambitious reforms. He fixed the calendar, creating the Julian calendar we still use a version of today. He reduced corruption, reformed debt laws, and granted citizenship to people in the provinces. But his absolute power fueled fears that he wanted to become a king, a title Romans despised. When his loyal deputy Mark Antony publicly offered him a crown, Caesar refused it, but for many, the damage was done. Was he just testing the public's reaction? A group of senators, calling themselves the Liberators, decided he had to be stopped. Led by Marcus Brutus and Gaius Cassius, they believed they were saving the Republic from a tyrant. On the 15th of March, 44 BC, the Ides of March, they made their move. As Caesar entered the Senate, the conspirators surrounded him and stabbed him 23 times. According to legend, his final words upon seeing his friend Brutus among the assassins were, "Et tu, Brute? You too, Brutus." He died at the foot of a statue of his great rival, Pompey. The assassins believed they had saved Rome. They were wrong. Caesar's murder didn't restore the Republic, it destroyed it. His death triggered another round of brutal civil wars. His adopted heir, Octavian, joined with Mark Antony to hunt down and defeat the conspirators. But soon, they too turned on each other. Ultimately, Octavian emerged victorious and became Augustus, the first Roman emperor. Ironically, the act meant to preserve the Republic ensured its final demise. Julius Caesar was more than just a general. He was a brilliant strategist, a masterful politician, a gifted writer, and a genius of propaganda. He could be merciful, but he was also capable of terrifying ruthlessness. He didn't wait for opportunities, he created them. His name became a title for emperors, Kaiser in Germany, Tsar in Russia. The month of July is named for him. He conquered Gaul, he won the Civil War, but his greatest conquest was the Roman political system itself. He reshaped the world and paid for it with his life. He famously wrote, "I came, I saw, I conquered." But looking back, history might say, he came, he changed everything, and in a way, he never left. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the life of Caesar fascinating, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories from history.